Have you ever gone through really difficult days, difficult adversity, struggling, suffering, loss? It could be on your job, it could be with your finances, with your health, with your spouse, with your kids, your family, you name it. And in the middle of that, in the pain and the suffering, you really longed for better days in the past. Job faced that. I read about that this morning, and Job knows exactly what that's like. And I want to share with you just a quick word on that. If you're new to following Jesus, and maybe you're hitting some difficult waters, you're having a storm come upon you, or maybe you've been through many storms, many hurt, wounds, spiritual burnout, things like that, and you just long for days when you maybe loved God stronger, or maybe served Him better, or maybe the sun just shined a lot brighter. Your kids were in the home. Everything was just the way you hoped it would be. Well, Job knows how that feels, and it says in Job 29, "Oh, that I were as in months gone by, as in the days when God watched over me, when His lamp shone over my head, and by His light I walked through darkness, as I was in the prime of my days." And that word in the margin, mine says the original could say, in the autumn of my days. When the friendship of God was over my tent, when the Almighty was yet with me, and my children were around me. Well, have you ever struggled with the season that you're in? Maybe it's a harsh winter, or maybe it's a blazing hot summer, and you long for the days of autumn. Well, I just want to encourage you that we don't know what God's up to, but we can know that He's up to something. And He is going to finish what He started in us. The psalmist says, "Many are the afflictions of the righteous, many, but the Lord delivers him out of them all." I know in my mid 50s, I've been through a lot of afflictions, but I want you to know one thing: God has delivered me out of them all. Some of those afflictions other people brought upon me. Some of those I brought upon myself. Some of them may have been a combination. But God sends us through these afflictions. He allows us to go through these afflictions because He has a purpose behind it all. And as you've heard people say, God is not so much concerned with my happiness as He is my holiness. And if you want to think of a more practical way to think of that holiness is, instead of HOLY, think of WHOLLY. In other words, He is concerned not so much with how much I'm skipping around today, as much as He is with how fully I'm being conformed to the image of Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior, and His beloved Son. And so He lets these afflictions come through my life and come into my life, but yet He's going to deliver me out of them all. I think about Jacob too. You know Jacob, his name means deceiver in the original, and God did a lot of work on him. And so God changed his name to Israel. And even after that, you see, I don't know about you, but I see a lot of more references for God referring to him as Jacob than Israel. But we know what he was meant to be in the spirit. But when he stands before Pharaoh, and Pharaoh asked him about his life and how many days, basically, how old are you? And that's a badge of honor back then, and it should be today. But you know what Jacob says? "Few and evil have been the days of my life, and I have not attained to the days of my fathers." That's a lot humbler, Jacob. But you know what brought him there? All of the afflictions and the difficulties that God brought him through and saw him through humbled the pride of his heart, changed that fiber of his fleshly character. And now he's standing before the most powerful man on the face of the earth at that time. And all he speaks about is the troubles that he's been through. Few and evil, few and difficult, few and filled with a whole lot of problems have been the days of my life. But you know what? He also says a little bit later, he says, actually just a chapter or two later, Jacob's going to say, The God before whom my fathers, Abraham and Isaac, walked, the God who has been my shepherd all my life to this day, and I think you could read it in the original, to this hour, the angel who's redeemed me from all evil. And then he goes on to bless Joseph's sons, Ephraim and Manasseh. But you know what I want you to see today is I want you to be encouraged that whatever you're going through, we can only see the bottom of that tapestry and these dark threads going through. But one day when we get to be with Jesus, we're going to see the other side. We're going to see the beautiful portrait of grace and mercy and likeness to Jesus that he's been working in and through our life. And I want to close with just mentioning this, just full transparency. I don't know about you, but I've never been closer to Jesus than when I'm going through trouble. It seems like when the days are easy and when blessings are flowing and finances are abundant and the job, I got the job and the promotion and all of this, it seems like it's easy for me to drift back toward the flesh. But when things go wrong, one thing I do know is where to run. And that's when I spend my time before God. And I have extra Bible reading and double up, double down, as they say, on prayer, and send those emails and really, really get close to Jesus. So I want to just encourage you today, whatever you're going through, God has a purpose. Also, you're not the only one. We're all going through the same process because we're all wired the same way. But that deposit that God put in us, he's going to bring out of us, unfortunately, through many afflictions. Well, God has faithfully loves you. If you're new to following Jesus, or maybe you've been suffering from terrible spiritual burnout, I want you to know I've been there. I've suffered from that myself. And I want you to know I'm here with a special heart of Jesus for you to help you come back to Jesus and get back involved in the church and with your spiritual life. So God bless you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.